I have a son who is now 16 years old, and when he was 11, my son has severe autism. So when he was 11, I had pretty much exhausted all of the traditional treatments and therapies that were available, and really coming from a very desperate place as a mother, looking for um, something to help. So, long story short, I ended up trying medical cannabis, and it worked so well. And when I say it worked, he still has autism, he still struggles. But the symptoms associated with his autism, such as anxiety, OCD, meltdowns, self injurious behaviors, pretty much diminished almost immediately. And then from there, it just became sort of another educational route of learning as much as I could about the plan and what formulations might be appropriate for him and other people with autism. And I started talking about it a little bit, and almost, there's a big difference between 5 years ago and now, right, in terms of stigma and people talking about it. So I was afraid to tell anyone then. Even though it was legal in my state, it was still very not well known by even legislators, and of course schools and community resources, agencies like family court or child protective services, things like that. So I started talking about it little by little, just with a group of other moms. And that's where Hope Grows for Autism was born. People who are more severe on the spectrum are the ones that are seeking out cannabis, and that makes sense because probably other traditional treatments haven't worked for them. But I think that it makes a difference of night and day. I mean, if you look at my example, I'm looking at residential treatment facility versus medical cannabis. Of course, now in hindsight, it's an obvious answer, but then it wasn't. Things like, healthy diets and different more natural treatments. And it connected, that cannabis is sort of like a natural next step, right? It's a natural medicine. And I had almost like kicked myself afterwards, not realizing, why didn't I think of this before? Or why didn't I look at this before? And the interesting thing about medical cannabis is that for us and for a lot of people, it oftentimes, depending on what you're using, can quell the outward symptoms of autism that are really interfering and debilitating with someone's life in the short term. And then in the long term, you see the longer term benefits that most patients with cannabis are seeing. And that translates to healthier GI systems and just better health in general. And, when kids with autism are feeling, or anyone really, when you're feeling better, you're able to do better. You do better at work, you do better at school, you're able to pay attention. So we're definitely seeing, more and more positive things on the long term as well. Definitely visit our website at hopegrowsforautism.org. We have a virtual Facebook support group I'll share the link with you, and it's easy to find. And there's parents in there that are asking the same questions, looking to learn as much as they can. And, oftentimes parents want to talk to me or, someone specific from the organization. But what I tell them is, if you ask in the group or if you connect and ask with these other parents, you're going to get 15, 20 different answers that are going to help you, as opposed to, my one or two answers. So it's definitely a really, really valuable resource. And it's proven not just for cannabis, but just in general for support. I mean, we all need one another, especially during COVID. It's been so isolating. So it's a really good place for our families to get support. The other thing we're doing in honor of April being Autism Awareness Month is on April 26th, we're going to be having Hope Grows for Autism Day. And we're going to be doing a fundraiser on Facebook, and I'll send you that info as well. So really donate, share, and get involved however you can to help the cause. To say the messages or parents that are reaching out. I mean, in the very beginning, when I first started doing this, we were like this underground network of parents, and I would literally, get a name of a family passed through 3 other families somewhere across the state or even around the world, and just being able to help that person learn about or access cannabis medicine, and knowing that saved their child from having, or their whole family really, from having to use something like an antipsychotic medication or a residential treatment facility. That's just, I can't turn away from that. I don't care what time of the day or night it is. It's just, when there's a child in need, and I can help, that's just, there's nothing better than that. So I am a huge fan of Dr. Bonnie Goldstein. She is a medical practitioner in California, and she sees many patients who are using medical cannabis, or who she helps, that have autism. She's just really such an inspiration to our community. So it's just like taking down those borders. It's really kind of the most frustrating and challenging thing about this. So why are we having all of these legislators and laws and regulations and red tape stand in the way from really desperate families that need help? And why do they have to be so desperate to get the help? I mean, after everything I've learned, there's nothing I can say more emphatically than cannabis should be a frontline treatment for autism. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, I mean, what I learned in my work at Hope Grows for Autism is that I can educate families, doctors, whoever, till I'm blue in the face. But unless there's some kind of appropriate access or medicine waiting for them at the other side, it means nothing. Therefore, 2 years ago, I partnered with Dr. Aludari Adamusu, who is CEO of Alera Therapeutics, to create the Hope range of products. So the Hope range of products are medical cannabis tinctures, and they were formulated with autism in mind, meaning we took data that we had from the autism community, and our scientists put together, the best possible place to start from. So we really went and created a safe and appropriate autism formulation for families to start with. So I wanted to share about that. It's unfortunately, because of the state lines, it's available in a few states. It's available in Pennsylvania, Louisiana, Washington, D.C., and Australia. But we hope to have it available to more and more families as soon as possible across the U.S.